In this tutorial, I will show you how to manipulate variables through various actions of Genesis code. If you haven't already seen the previous video, check it out. It's called Genesis Code Applying Forces and Displaying Variables. It'll show you, at the last part of the video, it will show you how to display these variables on the screen. The easiest way is probably to just click on this and open it, and it will open it in Unity. Right now I have a cube in the very middle that I've just recently added, and the goal right now is to create a score system that will increase. The score starts at 0 and it will increase when you keep clicking on the cube. It's a very, very simplified score system, but it's something we can work with within this period of time. So let's go over here. Let's just set it to show only variable 1. Since we only need one variable, we can set the name here to score, just like in the previous video. Showed you how to do this. And then we can set that to score, and we can set this to score. Okay. Now what you have to do is to set the condition to something like probably a mouse, because we're gonna increase the score when we click on it, right? So set it to press or release. Don't set it to hold, because that's just gonna keep increasing the score for every frame that you're clicking on. While you're holding the mouse button on the cube, it's going to keep increasing the score every frame. So you don't want that. And set that on this. And this action, you can just leave it like that, since there's no action object and there's no origin object either. And all the values are 0. Pretty much nothing will happen. You can just leave it like that, which is actually what we want. The variable display, you can drag and drop this variable text here, and you can start to see that there are like 2 slots here. This one says none, both say none, and what that means is that it doesn't have a variable yet. This slot does not have a variable, so nothing's going to happen. But if we set this to score, you can start to see that we can actually manipulate it in some form. There's multiple things you can do with this. You can add a certain value. So maybe you want to increase it by 1 when you click on it. Let's see how that works so far. There you go. See, when you click on the cube, it increases the score, but when you click outside the cube, it doesn't increase the score. Now you can also set it to 500. There you go. Increases the score very rapidly. You can also set it to lose points. So maybe you want it to maybe when you're doing something that you're not supposed to in the game, maybe you can like set it to lose points. Record highest. Okay. We'll talk about that later, since that will take the most time to try and demonstrate. But over here, if you set it to change value, you can set it to that score value. It's not going to change when you click on it because it's already 500. So that's the basis of this variable manipulation. You can also change it to maybe set the value to another variable. So if I want to change the score variable's value to variable 2's value, I can always do that through here. Let's put that back for now. Now, record highest is probably going to be a little difficult to demonstrate, but I'm going to try. First, let me do something. I'm going to set this to constantly increase scores, the variable score by maybe 1, or maybe probably something lower, 0.01. And then I can set this to, I can set the score to probably be like a high score, highest score, and then I can add that in. There we go. I think that's good. Okay. So always, what that's gonna do is that it's gonna keep increasing the variable score by 0.01. The highest score is going to record the highest value of this variable, for example, and maybe let's make another script that will, like when you click on the cube, it's going to set the score variable to 0. Okay, so when you click on the cube, it's going to change the score back to 0. The highest score will record the highest value of the score variable. So the highest score will obtain the highest value of the score variable. You can see it here, record the highest. So it's only going to, increase in the very first moment. I'm going to show you. So the score and the highest score, they're both going at the same time. It seems like, you know, scores 3, 4, 5, maybe 6. And the highest score, it seems like both scores are like, both variables are actually increasing. They're the same thing. If you set the score to 0 again though, the highest score stops. It stops at like 10. And that's actually because if the score reaches a high value, like maybe 11, it's going to record that instead. But then if it's not 11, it's going to wait until the score becomes higher again. So the highest score records the highest possible value of score. Since the highest it ever reached was 11, it's only going to stay like that until it reaches a new value, like 12. Until it reaches like a new high value, like 12. So this is actually really useful for things like when you're trying to record a best score. Think about Flappy Birds, how you have like a scoreboard and then it records like your highest score, so you can see like maybe like your best score, your best how should I say, when you did a lot and you were able to finish a long way. Think of an endless game. When you were able to go past a lot of obstacles, or when you were able to get a really high score, it usually records it, and then it waits for you to try to get that score again. You know, that it doesn't change unless you get a higher score. So it's very useful for that. Like think about like best score in games. It only records the best score. It doesn't record your score when you're like when you're lower. So like, yeah. I'm just rambling at this point, but but yeah, you can start to see like how it works. Record the highest. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you set it to a numerical value, like 10, what's going to happen is that it's going to keep that value. So that becomes the highest score, that becomes like the best score, right? It's going to keep the value of 10, and I think it's gonna stay like that. Let's see what happens first. Yeah, it's gonna stay like that because yeah, it's not recording any variable, so it's only gonna stay like that number. So it's not very useful if you're using numbers, but for variables, it's really good for recording best scores or anything of the like. I hope you found this tutorial to be very useful. I think this is my final tutorial. I don't think there's anything more that you have to learn in Genesis Code. A lot of the things I've already covered in all the other videos. So once I implement a new feature on the next version, I'll be sure to let you guys know. Thanks for watching these tutorials on Genesis Code. I hope you decide to purchase it, or if you've already purchased it, I hope you really enjoy it. I've worked quite a bit on this script, so I really hope that it proves to be useful for the game projects that you'll be working on. Alright, that's it for now. Hope you all have a good day. See you later. And you can get some more updates from me on my forum page for Genesis Code. Alright, bye.